Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my sick... Oh, gotta share the screen first, dummy. Let's say thank you to mysickshirt.com. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at mysickshirt.com. All right. Welcome to the party, everybody. How are we doing? I got an interesting show for you guys today. We've been talking a lot about what's going to happen when Gen Z grows up. Are they going to do the same kind of stuff that millennials have done and kind of just, adulting's hard and I don't want to do anything and stuff like that? Or is that, they're definitely like that now. Is that just because they're young? And are they going to grow up and grow out of that? So we are going to be taking a look at just the Q&A section of a speech that Charlie Kirk of TPUSA did. It's their chapter leadership summit, and he gave a speech. I didn't, find it all that amazing, but the way that he interacted with the students, I thought it was really cool. So we are definitely going to jump into that. Hey, shout out to Zippy the Strange in the building. Welcome to the party. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Hey, Charlie. My name is Caden Smith. Big fan of yours. So at my college campus, we have about 5 people in my Turning Point chapter. So what is your greatest advice to combat against people tearing down...
He's louder than the audience, by the way.
...your table, breaking into your dorm room, and all this other crazy stuff?
Wow. What school again? I'm sorry?
Mid-Plains Community College in North Platte, Nebraska.
So I'm sorry you have to deal with the... Boy, breaking into your dorm room.
That's pretty wild.
I don't hear that one often.
And I mean, I was thinking when he said that, I'm like, oh, maybe that's like, what school is like these days. It would make sense. That's how everything is escalating. But the fact that he didn't say that, or the fact that Charlie said that, wow, I don't hear that often, shows that this is continuing to escalate, that this is continually the normalization of turning people who disagree with you into an enemy is keep on rolling.
First, how do you deal with it? Attitude-wise. This is another thing they don't teach you in college. How do you handle negativity and suffering? No.
Yep. And that's why we have a bunch of millennials who are grown adults who act like children, because people were never taught. And if you don't take it upon yourself to actually go and look and read and talk to people and learn these things, you're just going to say stupid. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. Said if they're fine burning buildings, breaking into a dorm isn't a surprise. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. I don't think it's the community college students that are burning down buildings and stuff, but point taken. Absolutely. Welcome to the party, brother.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Wait, what'd she say? I missed it.
No. Do you handle negativity and suffering? No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, he said, catch me outside. How about that? Come on, bro.
Complain, or do you look at it as a potential blessing in your life? You are 100% in control of the attitude that you bring to things that are out of your control.
Bingo!
That is one of and I like how he says this is something you're not going to learn in college, because it's true. It's a very fundamental thing about becoming a critical thinker, becoming an adult, but they don't. And I mean, obviously I went to school for psychology. So we talked about, internal locus of control versus external locus of control, where do you believe that, your situation is because of external things, or do you believe your situation is because of you, stuff like that. But outside of that, that was a 300 level psychology course. So the fact that he's starting out there, Chef's kiss. Love it. Hey, shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya.
Secular society and modern society says that you are a victim of your circumstances.
Okay, I'll go with that because that is true. But he's gonna be bringing up a lot of stuff about religion here, and you guys know that I very much appreciate the religion, the values that come from religion, as well as TPUSA and Charlie Kirk and all that stuff. But I'm certainly not gonna let no BS fly, no matter who it is. Shout out to Melted Mind Media. Welcome to the party, brother. Another awesome YouTuber on the game. Definitely go check out his channel. How we doing? We also got David Banner. What is good? Good to see you, brother. So Charlie Kirk is a dork. I mean, kind of, a little bit. I'm not going to argue that.
I'm here to tell you that you get to choose how you handle your circumstances. And so, for example, okay, our table gets torn down. They break into your dorm room. You have two choices. I'm a victim, feel sorry for me.
That's the external locus of control.
I want special rights and privileges. Number two, wow, this is making me tougher. I'm going to grow closer to the people I care about.
Base.
Our 5 chapter members are going to be tighter knit than ever before.
True.
I'm going to have some great stories. And boy, I'm more motivated to defeat these Marxists than I was before I started my Turning Point group. Boom, mindset shift.
And that's, you know, I don't want to call out anybody's names. And if you're familiar with who I'm talking about, please don't put it out there. But, you know, we were talking in Discord yesterday about somebody who was, you know, a little on the younger side and having trouble with career stuff. And, you know, a bunch of us are trying to be like, okay, well, how about this? How about that? How about that? And he was, you know, making excuses and saying, I can't do this and I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. If you decide that you are a victim, you are indeed a victim.
You have a choice to do that. And our society now is non-stop about something. You are just a creation of the stuff. No, you are a creation of who you choose to be.
Based.
You are a creation of the mindset you bring to the game. And so, yeah, bad stuff can happen to you. Sickness, death, unexpected car crashes.
No, not bad stuff can happen to you. Bad stuff will happen to you. That's life. But you choose how to deal with it.
Injury. Do you view it as a chance to become better or not? How many people have read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl? Anybody? Well, that's actually more I think some of you want to ask questions, so I can't tell. You should all read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor. No one can say that I'm suffering and then read Viktor Frankl's book. The guy lost his wife, concentration camp survivor, and he says, if you go through life with an attitude that this is a chance to improve and become a better person, you have the agency to do that. And so,
absolutely. And this is the message. This is the message that's missing from the politics of the culture war, and especially with young people, is, you know, kids are talking about solving all the issues in the world. And, you know, the same person we were talking about, I told them, you know, they could do this thing and just start a Facebook group or find a Facebook group. And they're like, I'm not on Facebook. You know, I don't like Zuckerberg, so I'm not going to give him money.
What?
Like, all right, I hear you, bro. But how about your money? How about you worry about your pockets before you worry about Zuckerberg's pockets? I promise you he's not worrying about yours. Hey, shout out to Unwanted Foe. Thank you for the super chat. $2 for Morty. And of course, that gets a treat. Wait, sorry, I'm all turned around. There we go. Thank you. And a big shout out to Dan Jensen. Welcome to the party. Said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Absolutely. Welcome to the party, guys.
How do you handle it? Look at it as a blessing. Get tougher, get stronger, as a chance to grow your impact. And I will say this again. If you're involved with Turning Point USA, the maggots will attack you. Good. You will become stronger while your counterparts grow weaker.
This is something that I have to deal with. You know, I'm not going to, you know, throw a pity party for myself. I'm just being real with y'all, that you see that I dance across many of the ideological lines that the average person takes. I'm an atheist, but I very much care about religion. I am very much against the trans ideology being pushed on kids, but I'm very happy that people are able to express themselves however they want. Go down the list, and I feel like There's a lot of nuance that people just don't care to have. And so I get a lot of flack from religious people about stuff that I say. I get a lot of flack from lefties for, about what I say. And the fact is, I'm cool. I'm good with it. Unless you can knock down what I'm saying, then you're free to call me whatever you want. You're free to think whatever you want. But it is what it is. And if you can tell me it is different, then that's a different conversation. But if you're just going to try and insult me and to get me to change my positions, it's not going to work.
Next question. Where are we at? I have no idea.
Mr. Kirk in the center here.
Okay.
I'll stand up. Mr. Kirk, how do we ascend to your level of basedom? And also,
that was cringe.
yes, being being based, essentially.
Yeah, we got it, bro. We were laughing at how stupid what you said was, not that we didn't understand.
How do we make time in our busy, or how would one make time in their busy
Talk about
schedules
dorks.
for the pursuit of wisdom,
Okay.
and that sort of thing?
Great question. What school do you go to?
I'm the only member here from Westfield State University in Massachusetts.
Well, God bless you for being here. I have no idea where that is in Massachusetts, but that.
Any far west you get to Albany.
So even further west than Worcester. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. God bless you. Thanks for being here. I'm going to say this as
If you know, you know.
braggadociously as a human being can. You guys are not busier than I am. Okay? I'm just going to be honest. We got 400 employees. I got to raise $100 million a year. I do 3 hours of radio. I have a daughter, a wife, and I got to deal with the New York Times and whatever government agency wants to put me in prison. Okay?
That's facts. Like, I am a lazy. I was gonna curse too early. I'm a lazy dude, and part of the reason why, you know, our friend in Discord that I've been bringing up, part of the reason why I feel so strongly that I want to help him is because I have the same mentality. He's only in his early 20s, and I really didn't get over that until like last year, where it's like, oh, I don't want to do things. I have to do this, and I just want to lay in bed and watch TV. It's like, bro, all right, then go do it. Nobody's going to stop you, but you're going to die because you won't have money for food. You're going to be out on the streets because you can't pay rent. Even if you have a place, you're not going to have the electricity to watch whatever you anyway. So you have to do things to live a life. And I know that sounds very basic and simplistic, but sometimes the most simple things you really do need to hear over and over again. You have to do things in order to be alive.
Okay? If you're busier than me, I want to meet you. You make time for what you care about. Yes. Podcasting, wake up earlier, stop doing drugs, stop drinking.
First two, all right, but
listen to podcasts that matter or Hillsdale online courses, whatever it is. You're not busy. You think you're busy. If I told you that your life will end in 30 days unless you run a mile, run.
I want supposed to be homeless in Cali. They pay you to be homeless. That's a good one. That's a good one. They will pay you and give you free needles.
Walk for an hour a day. You'd find time to do that. It's a matter of what matters most to you. So
what matters most to you? The fact of the matter is, if you're going to tell me, oh, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to get married, or I want to anything, and then we say, okay, well, why haven't you done it? Well, because this and that and that. Well, you don't really want it that bad. Because the only proper answer to why haven't you done it yet for something that you want is I'm working on it. I'm doing it right now. That's the only reason that you should be not working towards, you know, whatever it is that you're working towards. And I say that I was just like our friend that we're talking about. Let's call him Roger. I'm just like Roger. But I didn't have anyone to, not that I didn't have anybody, but I purposely avoided the type of people who would tell me the things that I needed to hear. And that, I think, is the mistake that a lot of us make when we're younger as well, is that we think we know everything. We think we know what's good for us. We think we know ourselves. And you just don't. To a certain extent, obviously you do, but learning is not a thing that ends. And that's internal and external.
probably going to have to subtract something from that equation, okay? The easy stuff to subtract, here's super easy equation, okay? You could do your own audit. Are you spending time with people that gossip more than pursue beautiful things?
Don't.
If yes, stop being friends with those people. Waste of time. Number 2, are you looking at a screen of content that is not teaching you things or fulfilling things? Stop it. Do you?
That's the key part too. Is it teaching you something? Is it teaching you something or fulfilling something else other than just, I'm entertained by this? Now, nobody's saying you can't ever have, turn your brain off and have leisure, but you should have to earn that. And it seems like that is the standard, especially for millennials and Gen Z. The standard is that you get to just chill. And like, all right, if you have time, you'll go and do, a workout. You'll do some Uber Eats. You'll work a 20 hours a week at a job or something. That's not how life works.
You have social media apps on your phone.
Oh, yeah. But I meant to say, if you're using the online resources, if you're using social media, if you're using YouTube, if you're using stuff like that to learn or to fulfill things outside of that screen, then that's a different thing. Now, you still don't want to get lost in that, but very different than just scrolling aimlessly through TikTok because you're bored.
Number 4, are you doing substances that do not make you feel good after you do them once the high wears off? Stop doing those substances.
Yeah, I gotta get kratom out of there. Kratom and the nicotine. Actually, the nicotine doesn't make me feel bad. I feel bad every time I gotta buy more pods.
If you're doing those 4 things and you tell me you're busy, you're not busy. You're distracted. Big difference.
You're not busy. You're distracted. We all have the same amount of time in a day, but you're distracted. And then it goes back to your priorities. Well, do you have to play 5 hours of video games a day? Do you have to scroll through 2, 7, 5, 9, whatever hours of TikTok a day? How about just 30 minutes? How about an hour and a half? Scrolling through for an hour and a half as a budgeting of your time? Come on, that's not really that much to ask. And if you can't do that, then you really need to reassess what do you want out of life? What do you want out of this experience? Especially for somebody like me who doesn't believe in a God. I don't believe that there's any path already laid out for me. Maybe you do. But either way, I'm sure your scripture tells you that despite the fact that God has a plan, that you have to do the work. You don't just get handed this stuff. And I wouldn't be saying this unless people acted like they deserve it.
And so my advice to you is you carve out the time. Hillsdale online courses, charlieforhillsdale.com. You listen to the Charlie Kirk show. Listen to the Matt Walsh show.
The Indian Jesus.
Listen, there's Victor Davis Hanson stuff. Like I could give you 100 books, literally 100 books to read that you guys could dive into, but you have to want it. It's going to take 1,000 hours of study.
Probably more.
Within a couple years.
Probably more.
Here's the cool thing. Once you go on this, there is no greater joy except getting married, having kids, and giving your life to Jesus. So no greater daily joy.
I mean, I've given my life to Jesus and it kind of sucked, but haven't had a wife, haven't had kids. I'm very much looking forward to that. But other than that, seems like on a normal day, accomplishing something feels so much better than the relaxation that I feel like I want more. That just productive nature is it's the only thing that really drives you. And you have to be able to understand that delayed gratification, because it is so easy to just 10 more minutes, another half hour, a little bit more. But that's your mind playing tricks on you. You don't want 5 minutes more. You want to get up and get the shit done with so you can go back to laying down because you've earned it this time. Zibby says, I want to nap. I'm too old. I mean, don't we all? Giving your life to Lutch. Hey, I'm here for you.
Joy? No greater daily joy than learning. The first line of Aristotle's Metaphysics, all men desire to know.
Yup.
Dive deep. Challenge yourself. Read the great books. You'll start to get to a level of joy and understanding of wisdom.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised he actually said the great books and not read the Bible. because that is a million times better advice. A million times, because you can include the Bible in good books. But when you narrow the circumstances so much that it has to be Christian, that's where I get an issue. So a point for Charlie right there, because we know he is all about his religion.
That I think our generation is missing. Yes.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. So you mentioned how it's maybe not a good idea to go into law, but I'm someone who really enjoys law, and I want to go to law school and be a constitutional lawyer. And I think we owe a lot to conservative judges like Scalia, Alito, Thomas, even Rehnquist from the 70s. So do you think it's better to not abandon these fields and instead try to take over them? As we see, the law has an effect on our daily lives, seen through recent Supreme Court decisions and even through COVID. And what advice would you give to someone who wants to go into law and who's a super staunch conservative?
No, I mean, look, if you have the...
I wonder, I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with his stance on going into law or why you should or shouldn't go into law. But do any of you guys know? Especially Replay Gang. Let me know in the comments below.
Temperament and the self-discipline, go do it. I wouldn't be able to go through forced diversity, equity, inclusion courses. That's what.
Oh, okay, I get it. So I think the notion is that just like every other institution, the legal, I don't know what you would call that, the lawyer group, they've also had to deal with the same shit. So when you have to do all this DEI stuff and the wokeness is part of the job, really makes it hard to make good arguments when you can't say the things that you actually need to say. Mountain Mind Media said, not specific enough. Looked up great books on Amazon and found a genderqueer. And now my dick is gone. What happened? All right. I mean, fair enough. But who told you that was a great book? Amazon? Now you need to go back and say, okay, the person who is telling me that this is great is not a valid authority. So now you have to go back, and before you're searching with an authority on which books are great, then you have to figure out, okay, who knows what books are actually great? Dan Jensen says, well, your life is never over in MMM. MMM? Multimedia, I have no idea what that means. MMM? Am I stupid? Sorry, I don't get it. Shout out to Martian Overlord. Welcome to Earth. Welcome to the party. He said, man, I remember when DEI was just being taught to not be a douche. For a small time. It was. It absolutely was. But as with everything, it went too far. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I usually just call him Melty. Melty.
What you're going to have to do, right? To go to a respectable law school, you're going to have to write paper after paper on why the Constitution is trash. I wouldn't be able to.
Gotcha.
So more power to you if you're willing to write that and do that. Every law school's captured, basically every single one. But
Called it. From that one notion of, oh, if you're going to go through the DEI, then this entire, his entire position was made clear to me.
You're right. We do need to have people go into elite society that actually love the country and share our values. But everyone's wired differently. I personally would not be able to go through that kind of humiliation exercise against my deeply held beliefs. But
I get what he's saying, but in terms of the types of jobs that would allow that type of change, the change that he's talking about, I feel like that's precisely what you would want to drive people to doing. The things that you don't want to do, the things that have already been captured so that you can re-uncapture them or whatever. How do you expect to pass laws and legislation when nobody's a lawyer? Shout out to M-Cubed. Definitely not calling you that, but funny enough. But yeah, there we go. How do we expect to have better lawyers if you're telling people, hey, don't go be a lawyer because all the lawyers are bad?
What? Yes, Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch is whatever. Scalia is amazing. we need a new wave of conservative legal scholars, and You seem like the type of person who needs to do it. So I'll back you 100% in that effort. God bless you.
Great question.
Charlie, on your left, right here. Guy standing up right here. All right. So Charlie, my name's Charlie as well. I'm from Seattle, Washington. So we are in the middle of a huge culture war. And I really enjoy the point of view that every chapter is its own military base. And so every war needs a game-winning strategy. And so Charlie, as one of our great generals, what's our game-winning strategy?
Guys, if you ever go to one of these things, try not to be the dick rider. You sound so I get that you're excited. Somebody you love is on stage. You know, eventually I'm sure I'll be going on tour doing things. Don't. Just be a normal person. I'm a normal dude. Charlie is a normal, for all intents and purposes, a normal dude. You, as one of our great leaders. Like, if I'm a liberal watching this, cringe.
All right, so it's going to be a long war. Let me tell you that. This is not going to end by, the break of summer, to use a military analogy. Number one, you do not apologize to the bad guys unless you know you've done something wrong.
You do not apologize to the bad guys unless, of course, you know you've done something wrong. Apologize when necessary, not when it's demanded. Apologize when you feel remorseful, not when they demand that you feel remorseful.
You do not apologize to the bad guys by forced Maoist-style indoctrination. Number two, you never surrender to their will. Number three, you must be happy. Happiness is a choice.
Facts. And it may not be a choice as simple as when you're unhappy to be like, okay, I want to be happy now. Maybe not. But I mean, if we want to really get technical, they say an emotion, the chemical reaction of an emotion in your brain is a 7-second reaction. So theoretically, if you get mad at something and you're still mad after 7 seconds, that now you're ruminating on what you're mad about, and you're mad that you're mad, and you've moved past the actual thing. But what he's actually really saying is that happiness is a choice in the sense that you make the decisions on what you do. The same thing that we've been talking about. If you're going to sit around and do nothing all day, then you're choosing not to be happy. If you're going to cry about every little thing, you're choosing not to be happy. Martian Overlord says, when you choose to be happy, you also have to choose to make necessary changes. Absolutely. Yes. You have to. You have to. Who's mad? What you talking about?
You're like, what? Do you know happiness does not happen to you? You need to work on your happiness.
You might be right wing. Shout out, and you know.
That's Prager's book. Happiness is a serious problem. It will change your life as soon as you recognize that. Happiness does not happen to you. You choose to be happy.
Yep.
And if your college is not teaching you that, your college is doing a big disservice to you.
So here's a perfect example of a Christian value or something that you would find in religion that doesn't need to be connected to a truth claim. The idea of choosing to be happy comes from understanding your emotions, understanding that you can only control what you can control, and that the emotional toll on things you can't control are simply not worth it. And so you learn to let it go. That's very Christian-like. You would definitely learn to think like that by following Christian scripture. But also, you could turn to mindfulness and meditation and realize that, all of this, the same exact thing. Point being, we don't need it to be Christianity. It doesn't matter how you got there. It's just about the values that we hold.
Why does happiness and joy matter?
Come up here?
Because they'll never be able to take that from you if you decide that's who you're going to be. Ever. And I believe the true joy comes from relationship with the Lord. I hope you guys make that same decision.
I won't, but...
And so we must be joyful warriors. What is the battle plan? More than even law. I'm so glad you're doing that.
So as he's moving on past that, from listen to what he said, because he didn't, the God comment didn't really bolster his message. Come on.
Guys, make that same decision. And so We must be joyful warriors. What is the battle plan? More than even law. I'm so glad you're.
Okay, so I mean, I miss it, but he's just like, well, I hope you choose to do this, but whatever. And the idea here is, again, I'm not saying religion is bad for these purposes. I'm just trying to open the doors and say, hey, even if somebody is not of your clan, as long as they have the right mindset, as long as they believe in the same values that you do, it's all good. It's all good. Right wing. My Media said, I feel like I just found out that out in the last year, and I've started mastering the skills of learning when to let go and not let feelings fester when I can't control the outcome. There you go. There you go. That's how to do it. And yeah, it takes time. It takes practice. It takes intentional, conscious work on this process. Just like anything else in your life. Anything else worth anything that matters takes time and effort. So shout out to you. Dan Jensen said, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Please do. Thank you, sir. Martian said, it makes me sad. All of the war talk about civil matters. The war talk about civil. Oh, you mean like the between like the two cultural sides? Yeah, I mean that's what we're doing here. Trying to fix that bridge. Trying to fix that bridge.
But we need entrepreneurs. We need some of you guys to go start the next Google, the next Salesforce, the next Ford Motor Company.
Hey, shout out to Unwanted Foe. I just realized I didn't even update the banner for you. So let's get Morty his treat. Come on over here, boy. Go on, get it. There you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, you are already, I forgot to put it, but that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much, brother. Really do appreciate it.
We need that badly. Can one of you go become a billionaire in the next 5 years, and we'll have a lot to talk about, okay?
I mean, I'll try.
Like somebody go found conservative Snapchat or something and like come back in 5 years. I'll name the whole chapter leadership summit after you, okay? Yeah, I won't have a problem with that 100 million a year. Right, exactly. One of you, please go get fabulously wealthy.
Shout out again to a sponsor of the stream, Unwanted Foe. If you want to knock him out of that spot, you need, oh, I got it wrong, $4.
Very quickly, because we need our own George Soros, okay? What is the battle plan?
There we go.
We need you guys to go take risks and not just go work for people, but go employ people and go get very rich and then go give money to go defeat the maggots. Okay.
This is, I think, another problem. Again, I'm not picking on our friend Roger. Those of you who know who he is, I'm not picking on him. I'm just using him as an example. And, if you're Roger and you would know if you were Roger, please understand that I'm using you as an example because number one, I understand so well. And number two, there's so many people like you. There's so many people like you. And the fact of the matter is that we are in a tumultuous time in the understanding of what we're supposed to do as we're growing up. But the bottom line of find a passion, find a niche, find a thing, find your thing, and then just go be the best at it or be good enough to, live your life. That's seems to be just fading, where people just want some type of task that's put in front of them and they just mindlessly do it, and then they go home and they do more mindless stuff, and all this shit. It's frustrating to see that people have lost zest for life, what actually matters about life. Oh my goodness, shout out to Melted Mind Media. Just had to steal the sponsorship spot from our boy. There you go. Thank you. And that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Said Unwanted Foe, more like unwanted sponsor. And shout out to Dan Jensen. No comment, no question, just pure love of the game. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay? So I got a lot more to that, and then finally, in your own personal life, you need to be personally conservative. Men, stop watching pornography. Women, stop watching pornography.
I didn't mean to bring that.
Women are watching pornography. Stop doing drugs, get married, and save yourself for marriage, and then have Mormon levels of children and then get rich and donate them back to Turning Point USA. Okay.
So let's go back over that because there's some of those things that I really agree with, and some not so much.
And then finally, in your
hey, shout out to Opus. Welcome to the party. All right, so let's see. Let's go through this bit by bit.
own personal life, you need to be personally conservative.
Personally conservative, absolutely.
Men, stop watching pornography.
If you have a problem with it, if you're seeing that it's getting in the way of you interacting with people, then yes. Otherwise, I don't really know that that's a big deal. Hey, shout out to Harshal Dave. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Welcome to the party. Said, save yourself for marriage. What is this, the 1850s? I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a girl who hadn't been run through. I'm just saying. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya.
Women, stop watching pornography, because a lot of women are watching pornography. Stop doing drugs, get married, and save yourself for marriage.
Okay, so the drugs part, I'm going to do my drugs. But, you know, we're just talking a little bit of kratom, a little bit of weed, whatever. If you're, again, if you're having, even with the weed, if you're in alcohol included, if you're having issues with these things, then yes, you need to be able to handle that. If you need to be sober, be sober. If you need to be, you know, you're like, oh, I don't touch that. Like, I can handle this. That's where I am. I can, if I, go to a party and there's some coke there, I'm good. I'll do some coke and I'll be good the next day. I don't care about, but put some painkiller pills in front of me and I have a decision to make. And it makes it a little bit different. And so that's my responsibility to know that. It's my responsibility for having put myself in the position where I even know that in the first place. Because some things might just be better left unsaid. But it's all on responsibility. Now, saving yourself for marriage, that's bullshit. I don't think that you can really get to know somebody unless you are, like, I think that, sex, the intimacy part of that is such a big part of a marriage, especially a modern marriage. That if you are trying, like the conservative notion is old fashioned because it is old fashioned, like our boy Harshal was saying, what is the 1850s? So maybe not save yourself for marriage, but maybe only sleep with people who you care about, that you think maybe there's a future here. Or at least, that you're not the same person. You're like, okay, we're, fuck buddies or whatever, but I'm not, sleeping all around. Maybe. But save yourself for marriage, I don't really know.
And then have Mormon levels of children, and then get rich and donate them back to Turning Point USA.
Okay. And that part I agree. Zippy says to Harshal, in some ways, it's refining and strengthening your will to not take the easy way of things. Very true. Very true. And I mean, the fact of the matter is when it comes to working out, the easy way of things is probably just to get a bunch of, silicone muscle implants. I mean, maybe you'll like that. Probably not, though. The best thing to do is to actually muster up the courage, the energy, the whatever it is that I haven't yet mustered up to get in the gym and build some muscle. I know that I have to do that. And again, I'm saying this because we were talking to Roger in Discord, and same kind of thing. He's like, "You don't think I know that I have to do these things?" Like, okay, yeah. I'm not saying that you don't know that, but you're not doing them. So that means it's appropriate for me to say, "Hey, even though you know this is what you're supposed to be doing, you're not doing it. So do it, even though and despite the fact it is hard. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not worth doing. Often, the very opposite."
Hi, Charlie.
And go to the men's summit is right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a really perfectly timed question for that response. It's about mindset. It's about happiness. Last summer, I was assigned a book for a class. Another reason to hate college with this one. It was called Bright-Sided, Why Positive Thinking is Undermining America. I had to read this book. It was
Interesting.
Torture. The general assertion is that being hopeful, being positive, being happy, being satisfied with things, being grateful are toxic and are undermining America in a variety of ways, as she went in the book, all to make the not very subtle assertion that it's conservatives because of all the data out there that
We're too happy.
Mm.
Yes.
So I wanted to know what your response is and why one of the main points.
Wait. Why? Where's the LOL JK? Why are we JK in here? Definitely go outside and touch some grass and do some work. No JK needed. No JK needed. Absolutely spot on.
Is that we don't like demand enough. We're not progressive enough. We don't want more entitlements. But I think we demand a lot in like a higher standard, not in like handouts. I wanted to know like your thought on that assertion, that book that I had to read for our class.
I'm so glad that she said that last part about, you know, what we feel we deserve. And the notion of what we see as happiness, because I have to think it's social media. I have to think it's social media. And the idea that all day, all you're seeing is the highlights of everybody else's life. And you know the reality of your life. So in comparison, it's like, oh my God, I should be there. I should have this. And so we have you know, happiness, but it's kind of another word that's been perverted or obfuscated. Those of you know that one of my big things is semantic obfuscation, taking words and using them in a way that they're not meant to be used to confuse people and make them not happy. I think the notion of I'm strong, especially for women, I'm a strong, independent woman. I make so much money. I can pay my own bills. That's what happiness is. Is it though? I don't think so, because most of you are that really unhappy. But, you know, go to a marriage where it's more traditional, and maybe she even works a part-time job, but she primarily takes care of the kids. Dad's the breadwinner. Probably going to be a little bit happier on a balance of probabilities.
So first of all,
so let me back this up. What is this? She was talking about happiness, something like that.
Demand a lot in like a higher standard, not in like handouts. I wanted to know like your thought on that assertion, that book that I had to read for our class.
So first of all, you should, before you ever, this is a good life lesson, before you ever demand anything from your society or your government,
clean your room,
or from others, you must demand excellence from yourself.
Bingo!
Before you ever demand anything from society or others, you must demand excellence from yourself.
And that's exactly what the 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson thing about clean your room is about. I remember when I first heard him talking about it, and it's such a simple thing. It's such a simple notion. But when we're talking about fixing the world, I remember Peterson was on Rogan. He was like, you think you're going to go out and save the world? It's like, well, no, it doesn't work like that. You can't even keep your own room clean. And you want to fix the economy? Like, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, yeah, man, my room's a fucking mess. And I started keeping my room clean. I mean, it's kind of dirty right now, but tomorrow is a cleaning day. I never used to have cleaning days. And it really does matter. The little things that you add to your life, the little habits, the little things like that will inevitably turn into things that you appreciate. Harshal says, handouts are not being given to people who actually and genuinely need it. Well, I think sometimes they are. It's just the majority of handouts are being given to people who don't actually and genuinely need it. But yeah, way too much money going out where shouldn't be. And it's coming out of all of our pockets.
If you are unshaven and like waking up at 5 a.m. and doing drugs and being like the world.
Who wakes up at 5 a.m. to do drugs? What? Tell me you've never done drugs without telling me you've never done drugs. You mean staying awake at 5 a.m. doing drugs? That's a lifestyle I'm familiar with. But waking up at 5 a.m.? I don't know any drug addict that wakes up at 5 a.m.
The world is so unjust. Give me free stuff. Like, get your act together before you start to go tell other people to give up their liberty, freedom, and their stuff. Okay? So
Zippy says, handouts are for votes, be they random demographics or big biz. That's very, very true. You know, when we talk about handouts, a lot of times we think about, you know, like welfare and stuff like that. But Zippy brings up a great point about, you know, the handouts that happen to banks and stuff like that. I mean, it's a great point. So I wanted to post that he's a problem with beards. I don't think he has a problem with beards, but like how I'm not clean shaven, but you know how I usually shape my shit up. Like, clean yourself. Have pride in yourself. Have pride in your appearance. Have pride. Have pride. Take the time. It's not about beards are bad, but if you just have your like fucking like neck beard out, that's not attractive. That's not professional. I mean, if you're in a metal band or something, go for it and whatever. But for most of you who need to have some type of regular job, yeah, have a beard. Shape it up. Make yourself look good. People notice that shit.
So I want to be very clear. Positive thinking has a bad rap in some way. I think we should be accurate thinkers.
Ooh, I was just about to say something about how, wait a minute, you just said happiness is in your control and you should choose to be happy, but happiness is a bad thing. So how does that work? And now he's saying, I think we should be accurate thinkers. So the idea is not to be happy or unhappy. It's the notion of how are we defining happiness? And are we working towards the right version of happiness? Melted My Media said, mine's not on my neck ass. What? You have a neck ass?
What? You should also understand that your attitude is 100% in your control. 100%. The unhappy make the world worse. The person who wrote that book is making the world worse.
Very true. Very true. The people who are putting out content that is antithetical to what is best for our society is making the world worse. Maybe not by a lot. But when I was first coming out of, being religious, I had to understand what is morality? What do I know? What do I think? What do I believe about this? And so, again, another amazing book by the now defunct and TDS brain-fried Sam Harris, The Moral Landscape, gave a perfect, in my opinion, a perfect way to understand how to think about morality in a secular way. And, St. Michael thinks that he got a big dunk on me because I just honestly answered his question, do I think morality is subjective, and said yes. But just because it's subjective doesn't mean that we can't make rules for it. For it to not be objective means that a physical law of the universe dictates morality or a God. And I don't believe that. But the big thing is, if we are not talking about, when we're talking about morality, if we're not talking about the difference between the most suffering for the most amount of people and the most well-being for the most amount of people, if we're not talking about that spectrum, then we're not really talking about the same thing. So if you are talking about that, then we absolutely, once we set the rules, now, even though it's subjective, we can set the rules of this is morality. Now it becomes objective. Just like chess. Chess is not inherent to the universe. We made it up. But once we've agreed upon the rules, now there are moves in chess where are objectively, despite that this is a made-up game, they are objectively better moves than others. Daniel says, what do you call a thin melted chin strap? Guys, come on, help me out here. Harshil said, speaking of handouts, reminds me of 2008 financial crash where the people responsible for it got big bailouts and the people who lost their jobs didn't get nothing. Yep, that's exactly what Zippy was saying. It's crazy. I don't know why, but I've never really put that together. To the specific word handout, I always think of welfare, but bailout is the same exact thing. Same exact thing.
But if you're a secular leftist, what do you have to be happy about?
Nothing. But if you're a secular, let's say, somebody called me out on the labels again. So, I accept the label conservative because I'm anti-woke. But, what about secular, anti-woke, in favor of country, community, and family? There's a lot to be happy about there. And you, as the Christian, would prefer that I am that version of atheist than the secular leftist. Would you not?
Everything the left focuses on is a crisis that is unhappy. The world is ending from climate change.
Yep.
The world is ending from systemic racism. There is no God. Our history sucks. I would be unhappy too. We look at it like, okay, no, there's not a climate catastrophe. We're not systemically racist. We're the greatest nation ever to exist. And I'm made in the image of God who loved me enough to send his son.
Or that I'm not made in the image of God, but that's even more beautiful because now I have the world is literally my oyster, and I can choose to be the best person that I want to be, and there's no punishment for getting things wrong. So I have the opportunity to make mistakes in the attempt to be the best person that I can be. Unwanted Vo said bank bailouts, car manufacturer bailouts, airplane company bailouts. How many businesses are considered too big to fail by the feds? Spot on. Too many. That is for sure. Way too many.
So that I could live eternal life. Yeah, that would bring me a lot of joy, actually.
That would bring me a lot of joy too. But until I have a reason to believe that eternal life is a thing, I'm going to just stick with being happy in actuality and in accurate thinking on Earth today. I don't need eternal life to be a good person. I don't need eternal life to be happy. If you believe that, great. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But just understand that if you're doing something because you want to get into eternal happiness, I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. But I'm just doing it. Just saying.
And so, but I don't love that term positive thinking because people think of it as like delusional thinking where, as Tony Robbins would say, you don't go into your garden and say, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. You go into your garden and you say, here's the weed and let me pull it out so that you could live a better life and fix your thinking patterns.
Okay. I thought he was going in a different direction. I'm not. Moving on.
And so Andrew Tate said this. I'm not an apologist for Andrew Tate, by the way. I think he's got a lot of problems, but I think he was totally right when he said this. All the young men are like smiling now because this is. I can't hear what you said, but okay. Again, I'm not an apologist of Andrew Tate, but I think he was right when he said this.
That's the position, guys. That's the position, especially now that we've, the stuff has come out, the most recent stuff that's come out, like, he's going down, boys. He is going down. The position to take is, I don't stand for that dude, but tell me where this thing that he said is wrong. Where's the weed at? He does seem a little off, right? He does seem a little off. Maybe he's been, maybe he's like those 80s televangelist people who are like, homosexuality is so bad, kind of like St. Michael. And then behind the scenes, what are they doing? Getting their butt plugged by dicks.
Which is that society in general wants you depressed and they don't want you happy. That if you're happy and joyful, people act as if there's something wrong with you. But if you're depressed and angry or bitter, they're like, everything's right with you.
Yeah, because they believe, again, in this internal versus external locus of control. Like, what if you have an internal locus of control, you understand that things are going to happen to you and you can't control that, but you can what's the word? You can not mediate. You can ameliorate. I don't know. Make better the situation by controlling your own thinking. Then you have other people who assume that, like he was just talking about, because they're bitter at everything, because they think that they are owed, a happy status quo, and then external things are coming at them that they can't control, and then they want to control them. That's where you get this leftist mentality. Is that, we need to do this, we need to do that. I have a problem with that, so that has to go away. Like, nah, bro, just chill out. Just stop fucking with the shit that you don't like, and go fuck with the shit you do like. It's not that complicated. It's not that easy, but it's life. Just do it.
That's weird.
Oh, wrong one.
And totally understanding that depression is a real thing and that people can struggle with it and anxiety is a real thing. Totally get it. Happy to give you resources on that. However, your attitude is still a choice, and how you act is a choice every single day. Only you are to blame for whether you are happy or unhappy today. That is.
Is the message landing? Is the message landing? Happiness is a choice.
Completely on you. not on systemic racism, colonialism, misogyny, homophobia, or somebody calling you a bad name. Next question.
How dare you?
Hey, Charlie. Just want to start off by saying really big fan, but I'm trying to do a co-event with the student ministry I'm in, and the president is very adamant about not
the ministry, the student ministry. All right, let's see what I got to say about it.
combining faith and politics. He is conservative, but he separation of church and state. He doesn't want to.
Whoever the hell he's talking about, shout out to him. Separation of church and state. You can be the most staunch Christian in the world, but that should not interfere with your politics. It should absolutely inform how you think about things, but you have to understand that the right answers to what should we do is what is going to help most people, even if it doesn't directly benefit you as much as something else. Same notion that we've been talking about. It may seem like being super selfish and all that stuff is a good thing because you're getting stuff, but very quickly, people don't trust you. You don't have any friends. I mean, go down the list. And I know you guys know this stuff, but we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. Otherwise, we'll forget. There's so much shit going on. There's so much going on that sometimes we have to slow down and just remind ourselves, what is this really all about? And for this, again, if you missed the very beginning, I am still on this kick of trying to determine, is Gen Z... Oh, yeah, we had the poll up before. So the question was, Replay Gang, let me know what you think in the comments below. Which generation will be better with politics at age 30? We had 71% say the millennials. My generation? You think that now is going to be better? Well, then we have a lot of work to do. Because Gen Z has a little bit of time before they get to be 30. So if you think that's how it's gonna be, then again, we have work to do. Daniel says, you control you, no one else. Based. Harshal says, there's a new church in town. It's called the Church of the LGBTQ, and it's growing rapidly.
Haram!
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And that is precisely why I focus so much on the two things that I do. You know, I already talked about semantic obfuscation, mixing around words, and, you know, what is a Nazi, what is a woman, all these things. And the second one is dogmatic thinking. It doesn't matter in what, but if you're thinking a thing is true and I have no way to know for sure, but I'm going to believe it anyway, that's bad. Don't do that. Allow yourself to remain skeptical because you could be wrong. Maybe you're not. Okay, great. But what if you are? Are you really going to just put all your eggs in one basket? Not a smart move. Not a smart move. Shout out to Little Toads. Welcome to the party. It's an either or, man. It's either or. Somebody's going to be better. Somebody's going to be better. You think Gen Z and millennials are going to be exactly precisely the same. So you're going to vote in Trump after Obama. Got it. Unwanted Foe said, haven't seen anything from Gen Z that shows it will be any better. I mean, the one thing I have seen is that Gen Z is the first generation, I don't know, in modern history to be, I forget how they say this, but each generation gets a little bit more liberal than the generation behind it. So usually it would be like this much, and then this much, and then this much, and then this much. But the Gen Z, so if millennials are here, then typically we would expect Gen Z to be, I'm going in a different direction. If we're here, then we expect Gen Z to be have that much of a difference. But we're seeing a much smaller difference in how much more liberal. So Gen Z is more liberal than millennials are, but the degree to which is less. So there's more conservative Gen Z than we would expect. And Daniel said, Herschel, that's a cult. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Herschel says, most of Gen Z is straight up Marxist.
Oh, hell no.
For now. My hope, again, is that they are children. They are children, and they are in this world where politics is everywhere. Everywhere. When I was in high school, like I didn't think about politics at all because I didn't need to. It wasn't injected into every little aspect of our lives. I was into music and skateboarding, which, had a political aspect, but you didn't have to engage. Now they've made it to a zero-sum game where it's us or you're with us or you're against us. So I don't know what you stand for. Then you're against us. You might be right wing. It's like, guys, we can't do this. We can't do this. It's not going to work. Even if you think you're right, it's just not going to work the way you want it to.
Make it political, basically. So, like, what are some
Back this up.
is very adamant.
Oh yeah. The
Trying to do
the pastor who keeps the separation of church and state. Shout out to him.
a co-event with us, the student ministry I'm in, and the president is very adamant about not combining faith and politics. He is conservative, but he separates of church and state. He doesn't want to make it political, basically. So, like, what are some ideas that I can propose to him to where we can do a co-event?
Yeah, I mean, you should ask him, where does it say separation of church and state in the Constitution? And that'll make him fluster a little bit.
I don't know exactly where it says it in the Constitution, but are we really questioning that the separation of church and state is not a thing? Come on, bro. Come on. Thank you, Melty.
I'm pretty outspoken on this topic, as you can imagine. Your friend is wrong. What he's basically saying is he doesn't want to offend people. Well, look, the gospel is offensive, okay?
What? What kind of ad hominem cope bullshit is that?
By definition. And look.
I mean, I agree that it is offensive, but like, it's not about offending other people.
What is politics? Politics is how we decide who gets power.
Sure.
The Bible has a lot to say about that. The Bible is largely a political document. What is true? What is good? Should we protect children? Who gets power? Should it be separate? The founding fathers.
So the story of Lot and his daughters, where they get him drunk and then pay him. What does that teach us about modern American politics? Oh, you weren't familiar with that story? Yeah, it's a rough one. This is now indoctrination. This is proselytizing. He's saying these things, but unlike the other things, he's giving where he backed up with reason and rationality. Now he's just saying things. Well, it's offensive and it's the best thing because it's a thing.
What?
Quoted Deuteronomy more than any other book, religious or secular, in the formation of our government.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shit in there. Nobody's denying that. But why does it have to be the book? Remember before you said wise books or whatever it was. Why can't it just be one of them? Melted Mind Media said the First Amendment in the U.S. Constitution. I thought so. I didn't want to sound stupid, but I was like, it's not the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Yeah. The first page, bro. The first sentence, bro. That's where. And I agree. They were very much religious, and they built on religious values a lot, and that's why I have no problem with that. What does that have to do with believing in a man in the sky? Nothing. It has nothing to do with that. Harshal said founding fathers were adamant about keeping church separate from state. Otherwise, U.S. might as well be another Saudi by that logic. Absolutely. That's where that goes. That's where that goes. If you have the predominant religion, then and here's the difference between a libertarian like myself and a real, a conservative, a conservative or a Republican, is that he wants a Christian theocracy because that would be good for him. But it wouldn't be good for everybody. But he doesn't care. Which is fine. We all have to act in self-interest. And not only is acting in self-interest is the wrong thing to do. But by attempting to force the hand of the government to be Christian, all you're doing is creating a huge population of atheists who are not as smart as me to figure out, oh, wait, even though the idea of God is probably not what it seems to be, there's a lot of good stuff in here. We shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's what rhetoric like this does. That's what rhetoric like this does. If you hate the leftist, the secular leftists, then stop creating them. Stop creating them. Daniel said the separation of church and state was more meant as a deterrent from the monarchy in England, which was basically entirely Protestant, as well as murderous to anyone who believed anything different. Basically, they wanted to separate church and state, so no one church had all the control of the government. Sounds like a fantastic idea. How's that been working out? Oh, really well? All right, well, let's keep with it then.
And so I understand campus ministry. They're like, oh, we just want to focus on the gospel. You are a weak person. Good luck with your 9 people. How many campus ministries can get 6,000 people to show up to an event like we can this weekend? They can't. They're withering away. They're dying. Their membership is going down.
Maybe that has more to do with the ideology than anything else. You got a lot of donor money. I don't know what are you asking? Student ministry? You think you're going to have 40,000 people without the kind of backing of a company like TPUSA? This is cope, my friend. You are coping hard. Coping hard. Listen to what he just said, as if this is a realistic thing, and as if this doesn't speak to, well, maybe not a lot of people are into this because it's not a good thing to be into.
Ministry, they're like, oh, we just want to focus on the gospel. You are a weak person. Good luck with your 9 people. How many campus ministries can get 6,000 people to show up to an event like we can this weekend? They can't.
I mean, especially Christians, I need to hear from you on this. Like, am I off base here? Is it not at least a reasonable thing to suspect that if you can't get people to coalesce around your idea, that maybe it's not the best idea? Maybe my version of American secular morality that we would all agree with is actually better. And it doesn't deny you from having your Christianity in addition.
Can't. They're withering away. They're dying. Their membership is going down. Why? Because they're increasingly irrelevant, where they're like, we just want to love everyone. Meanwhile, this trans zealotry is spreading the country, and they're like, well, we don't take stances on that stuff. Well,
Yep. I mean, either be a religion or don't. Because otherwise, if you're not going to follow the religion, then you're just a fucking club. We're a God club. Cool, go be a God club. But don't tell me you are a Christian if you don't believe in the core tenets of Christianity. I am not in favor of people being wholly anti-LGBTQ, whatever. I think it's wrong to look at somebody and just because they have a different sexual orientation, just because they have a different gender identity, that they are a bad person. I mean, the latter, I would have some questions, but I know individuals who are trans. I know individuals who are gay who are not part of the group of the people that we don't like. The ones who are pushing this shit, they're just living their lives. But if you have this religion that says this is wrong, then either you have to stick to the religion and remain a religion, or you're just a fucking club. I don't know why I'm cursing so much tonight. Definitely getting demonetized. But you guys are blessing me, so I don't care. I'm getting real. Unwanted Foe said, after all his bluster about happiness, he's telling someone who only wants to stick to the gospel a weak person. What are we listening to now? Haram, I guess. Harshal says, I have to be honest. We got to first keep some Catholic priests and children separate. I'm going to agree with that wholeheartedly.
You're going to be irrelevant and your numbers are going to go down. If you stand for truth, people will come. If you stand for truth, people will come.
I mean, I agree, but how are we defining truth now?
Happy to talk more privately with you, though. Thank you.
On your left?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jude Carlson. Unfortunately, not related to the notorious Tucker Carlson, but I come from a pretty conservative area.
Oh, lay down.
But my fellow high schoolers don't exactly have motivation for politics or getting involved at all. So, as having the privilege of being,
this is what I'm talking about. You have kids like this. I had one kid in my high school, like almost 500 kids in one class, like not one classroom, but the 08 was almost 500 people. So there's one kid who was really like into politics, and nobody else really thought about it. I'm sure people cared. I'm sure people paid attention, but I certainly didn't, and I didn't know anybody who did. So when we talk about like, okay, is Gen Z going to be a little bit better? We have to realize that they're still young right now. So they may be fucking up and you know being whatever now, but 10 years is a long time. Think about how you were 10 years ago. A lot can change. Fingers crossed. Let's see what he's got for Charlie Kirk here.
Politics or getting involved at all. So, as having the privilege of being the president of the first chapter at my high school, what would you recommend me do to have the largest impact that I can and encourage my peers to be leaders while simultaneously leading them to Christ?
Come on. So close. Why don't you worry about helping your peers become leaders? And then if Christ is the right way to be led, then don't you think being a good leader and being a good leader of leaders will naturally lead there? Why do you have to force it? How about you just talk about the things that actually matter and whether or not you believe in Christ, that you care about country, family, community. Harshal says governance is not about anyone's religion, gender, or sexual orientation. It's about good governance. People have forgotten that.
Bingo.
Well said, sir. Well, sir. Well said, sir. People have forgotten that. It's because it's become so ingrained in everything. It's pop culture. It's not our political culture. It's pop culture. And we know how, like, people think of pop culture. It's just a thing to do. Oh, I might see this movie because whatever, but if I don't, then, whatever. Oh, I gotta see the new Marvel movie because I love those. But, and then, we talk about this, and then I wish they would have done that, but it's not about governing our lives. That's what politics is for. Well said, Harshal.
This is a question I get from people of all ages, which is someone who cares asking me, why do other people not care?
They're not going to. People just don't care.
It's just the way that God made us. A small percentage of the population will care, while most people sit idly by and do nothing.
And that is the better way for things to go. I was just talking about in high school how people didn't pay attention to the stuff. But life was better. Not only like individually, but the country was in a better place. Maybe it's not for everybody. We talk about Vivek Ramaswamy saying, take a civics test or serve in some way to the country before you are allowed to vote. You have to have some skin in the game. And a lot of people don't. When those people vote, then we have problems. So all we need to do is keep the people who want to vote informed so that they can make cast accurate votes. And the people who don't care, keep them the hell away from a voting box. Keep them the hell away from a ballot. Because if they're just going to ride the wave, then you don't get to choose what wave it is. I was listening to Tim Pool saying that he's against the civics test. And I, for the life of me, cannot understand why. I think he said only selective service. Why? Why? Do we not need people to know more about how our country works, to know more about the history of our country, so that we don't repeat the same mistakes, so that we can see the red flags as they're coming down the way? Like, hey, red flag. Let's not go down that road. That's probably not a good idea. You know, like locking down the entire country for 3 years, probably not a good idea. Why do we want those people voting? I don't. Do you? Do you want people who are sitting idly by doing nothing voting for how you need to live your life? I certainly do not.
It's just the way it is. So the trick and the challenge of the leader is how do we get those who usually won't care to care?
How do we get those who usually won't care to care? You have to meet them where they're at. You have to meet them where they're at. You cannot force down somebody's throat who doesn't pay attention to politics why we should or should not be in Ukraine. They're just going to gloss over. What you can do is talk about, all these movies. Like, nothing really good has come out lately. Everything's some chick who's doing this, good for her. But like, what happened to the old action movies and the, real spy thrillers that didn't have to be? That's how you do it. You get them to want to care because they have to want to care in order to care. And you can't make them care, but you can make them want to care. I'm going to say that again. Did you miss it? You can't make someone care, but you can make someone want to care. A wanted foe said, crippling the country's economy for 3 years was such a great idea. Why would you ever be against it? Harshal said, Ramaswamy should have proposed to make strict civics tests a must for students before graduation rather than making it a must for a vote. That just sounds wrong. What sounds wrong about it? Because the idea is that if we do what you're proposing, then everyone has to take the civics test, whether they want to or not, and they still may not vote. But we don't want the people who are, because especially if you're taking a civics test in high school, then do you remember the majority of the shit you were tested on in high school? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but or whatever was 15 years ago. The idea is that yes, obviously we would love for people to be able to pass civics tests just to have a smarter populace. But the idea of tying it to a vote is because that controls your life. It controls my life. And if we spend every goddamn day digging into the stuff, talking to people, trying to figure things out, and this a-hole is over here like, well, I think I heard something about Trump. Why should we get equal say in what happens? That's not fair. Zippy says they made mailing too easy. You need to balance the game. Yep. Mindless moms voting is bad. It is very bad. Absolutely. Melted Mind Media said took the civics test in middle school and got a 50-50 for 50 out of 50 for extra credit. Yeah! Word up. How much of that same test do you think you could pass right now? No resources, no books, no nothing. That's a big one. The government cannot be trusted. That is the core tenet as to why we need to be accurate in our thinking about what is right for the country, because the government cannot be trusted. So even if we put in the best of the people that we can, the government is still not going to be trustworthy. So if we don't pay attention, or we let people who aren't paying attention vote in, that's only going to make things worse. Unwanted Foe said also, if you fail high school, you can still vote at 18. Requiring voting catches any that falls through the cracks. Yeah. Yep. I'm with you right there. Completely agreed. Melted My Media said at least 40 or 45 out of the 50. Hell, might not even be out of 50 anymore. Exactly. Might be a whole different thing. Harshal said, my point is to make civics test a part of the whole education system, including colleges as well, rather than just limiting it to for voting. So yeah, again, I definitely agree that we want people to have a better understanding of civics. No disagreement there. I'm just, you were just saying you didn't understand why, and you're saying that sounds wrong. So I'm just giving you my thoughts on why I think it's not wrong. Zippy says because politicians have become criminals, having anyone vote for any reason is very bad. I don't know about any vote for any reason. Then what's the point of voting then? But unless you mean like just any old person voting for any old thing, in which case I agree. Yeah, so let's be clear about what Vivek wants to do. He wants to make it to where you can't vote at 18 without passing a civics test or joining the military. If you do neither of those things, you wait until you're 25. 100% on board. 100% on board. Oh, what? You can join the military, but you can't vote? Well, now you can. Oh, you can drink alcohol, but you can't vote? Raise that age to 25 too. I don't give a shit. The arrested development of children these days, including myself, talking about I figured out how to be adult last year after I turned 30. Bringing up everything up to age 25 in my book. Zippy said the civics test to vote keeps the game balanced to keep the criminal politicians in check. Absolutely. Daniel says, and he is open to allowing the same exceptions for anybody who can't read or write or any of that stuff. Yeah, it's very reasonable. It's very reasonable in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. So just like willy-nilly. I thought you were saying anyone voting for anything is bad. I'm like, whoa. All right. Where were we?
Is how do we get those who usually won't care to care? That's the challenge in front of all of you.
Make them want to care. Don't try to make them care. Try to make them want to care. Archer says mail-in voting should be banned. I never heard about mail-in vote happen in any other first world country. I mean, the mass mail-in voting, where they send it out to everybody, absolutely. I think it's reasonable to have absentee ballots, but those are very different because you're applying for it, and so they know who they're sending it out to. They're not just sending out 300 million ballots and just like, well, I guess some of them will come back. Like that's just crazy. Zippy says we become ancient Greece. Adult needs to be to 30. Absolutely. If I'm only 3 years into my adulthood, then that makes me feel a lot better about myself.
And the number one way is you yourself have to be joyful, enthusiastic, energetic, and you have to be a leader that is worth following. If you are those things, then you have a chance to bring other people into those ranks, right?
There you go. If you are one of those things, you can lead by example and bring other people into those ranks. But if your room is dirty, then why should I listen to you? As I say this, as you're watching me, and my thing is a right now. Well, this isn't as long as I thought, so we'll do that after. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. I'll try that after. Word up. I was not thinking this was going to be so short, but I forgot where we were. Oh, yeah. You make people want to care. Don't try to make people care.
Again, the majority of the population is just going to be indifferent. Whatever. How many times do you guys hear that when you do this? Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. You're going to have to just break through that. Pierce through. Try to make it relative. Try to make it relevant, I should say. Try to make it engaging, informational.
Meet them. Where they at? No. Go there.
But more than anything else, people follow people. And so if you are a leader worth following, who's interesting, who studies, who understands their stuff, that's a great way to pierce through a lot of the cynicism and a lot of the lack of engagement. God bless you, man.
Absolutely. Opus says, I moved out at 18. And it was like stepping straight into poverty because the cost of living is absurd. And that was 20 years ago. Now kids really can't afford to move out until 25. Yeah. And it's sad because we want to. It's not like we didn't want to. It's just like, yo, the numbers, the math ain't mathin'. You could work a retail job minimum wage in the 50s and 60s, and your whole family would be supported on that. I can't even fathom that. I can't even fathom that. I mean, and that's why I'm saying, yeah, raise it. So it's not just about the privileges of an adult, but the responsibilities. That gives kids more time to be the kids that they're already being without the expectations of being an adult. Sippy says we really need to overhaul voting. It needs to be more like a bank account. Okay, I'm not sure I'm with you, but let's see where this goes. You know where you voted, and when complete the paper receipts, voting should be a celebration. Well, I'm down with that part, but that's why a lot of people are saying only same day voting, in person, paper ballots. I'm kind of with that. I think the more technology you bring into it, then yes, it might streamline the process. But we want to get, this is something that if it takes a little bit longer, let's take a little bit longer. Let's get it right. I don't know. Harsha said, have you seen Ramaswamy on The Breakfast Club? It'll show you how much of a smart person he is and how much loony the left has become. So I did see the clip where he was talking to that woman who was like, what have you done? You've just been sitting around only creating billion-dollar companies? Yeah, that was wild. But I'm going to put that on her and not all of the left, but completely agree with you. Opus said the Dems won't allow voting overhaul. They will kick and scream racism the whole way, just like they always have. Just like they always have. You need an ID to vote for who's going to be the leader of the free world? Don't you know that black people can't get licenses? They can't get them. It's so sad. They just don't know how. They can't find the DMV, and they're just not smart enough. Hold up. That sounds really racist to me, bruh. That sounds really racist to me. Yeah, I want to lower the voting age. Why do you think that is? Because of all the things that we just said about those people who are voting for stuff that they don't know. They want that. They want that. They want the good, moral people in this country to be second-class citizens. I don't know why, but actions speak louder than words. And Biden might have, and everybody else might have all the talking points. But I'm going by what I see. Zippy says the way they do voting, it's not streamlined. It's machines and ballots being manually fed into the tally with an account system and real-time data of votes being public information. If, data of votes being public information, you make a secured system. But we don't have a secured system. That's the point. Is that if it were secure, then yeah, word up. But it's not. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for leading our chapter 2.
Front middle.
Hey, Charlie. My name is John Walker. I'm the chapter president at our Grand Canyon University chapter. Yeah. Nice to see you again. So I had a question similar to the question that was asked over here, but with GCU being like a Christian campus, pretty conservative campus, there are a lot of students that I talk to, especially friends of mine, that are like, hey, I respect what you're doing. I don't really care about politics. All I care about is the gospel. You know, Jesus is going to win in the end, so why should I care about America?
Jesus is going to win in the end, so why should I care about America? And you're questioning why I care? What these people believe? Case in point. Harshal says, if you pay taxes, then you get a right to vote might be a good idea. You've got to contribute and to get a say in changing the government. I agree, but I don't know. I don't know if that is a paying taxes. I'm just not in favor of taxes overall. So that's probably a good idea, but I'm too much of a libertarian to say that. No, I don't know, because that would be a voluntary exchange. If I'm paying taxes to get a right to vote, Okay, I think it could work. Shout out to Ayush. Welcome to the party. Said Crystal Ball and Kyle Kalinske have this position that raising voting age or adding restrictions is Republicans' way to undercut DNC votes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, obviously. Why do you think the Republicans want to do the things and the Democrats don't want to do those things? Because it undercuts the Democrats. It's politics. That's the game. Zibby said we can't even have a national registry. Exactly why we should be not trying to streamline this with technology, but make sure it is the most accurate no matter how long it takes. Daniel says that sounds like BS. I bet at least half of Harlem has IDs. Well, I don't know about half, but obviously, right? Like, come on. Melton My Media said to Harshal, what about people who commit tax fraud and never get caught? I would have to know how much or how many people are doing that. Because I assume the people who are doing that are primarily, like larger institutions. But I don't know. That's a good point. This is what, what's wrong with it? Why do we need to go to a different idea? If we all agree that the civics test is a good idea, then why are we throwing out other ideas? Like, let's rally behind an idea instead of, the right, they don't really know what they're talking about. The conservatives over here, the libertarians, let's pick our lane and ride it. Well, I mean, we have mail-in voting too. We just the Republicans tend not to use it as much. And then when it comes to ballot harvesting, in a city, it's much easier to knock on 1,000 doors in one day than it is in rural Indiana. It's not gonna take as long, and so you're gonna get more votes. Zibby said taxes are less the problem than the government and courts ignoring law. That's true. All right. I'll leave that since you deleted it. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. If they're not, Daniel says if they're not getting caught, how would you know? Well, that's exactly that's exactly the point here, is that we wouldn't know, and so the system is now flawed and has more cracks in it. Whereas if you bring your ID, you do the test, you get some kind of card or something, and they put you on a list of people who are allowed to vote. End of story. If we don't have anything wrong with that, then I'm not understanding why we're trying to give more ideas. Let's rally. This is the time to rally. Mel D says, sorry, ballot harvesting was a better word to use there. What did you say? Oh, yeah. I mean, that's really what it's become, because most of the mail-in votes were the mass mailed out ones, not the absentee ballots. I have nothing wrong with an absentee ballot. That's just like, oh, I'm doing shit. I can't be there that day, so I'm just gonna do it early. Like, okay, this is you, right? Yeah, okay. Opus says taxes are a major problem. Bingo. I'm a believer that the U.S. could be turning a surplus with the amount of resources we can leverage. Interesting. The government needs to be shrunk about 50%. I am done with that. Zippy said a national registry just allows for better fraud detection. Hard to make dupe accounts in different states with the same info. I guess, but national registry, just again, that's a scary phrase. I don't know. I need to know exactly who has this information, what is the information, where are we getting, where is it going, what is it being used for, who has access to it, all that kind of stuff. That's a scary concept.
I hear that same thing from a lot of churches too.
So remember, I mean, oh my God, I can't think of a better example of why dogmatic thinking is so bad than what this guy just said.
I don't really care about politics. All I care about is the gospel. Jesus is going to win in the end, so why should I care about America?
Based, right? Oh, man.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I hear that same thing from a lot of churches too. So how do you suggest I go about going into these friend circles, going into these churches, and be like, hey, you should care about America because we know Jesus is gonna, come back, and those beliefs.
Do we though? Do we though? How do you know that Jesus is going to come back? I'm not saying he's not. I'm just asking, how do you know that he's coming back? I'm watching folks that the federal government would have access to a pass. Yep. Melody says, bro, if Republicans invested in drones and flew them to collect votes from super rural areas, they would be doing way better. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. He is already back. What?
Believers are going to be saved, but
Oh.
Stupid.
I'll take that L right there. Everybody put L Lutch or L. Everybody put L Jesus in the chat. Everybody put big L Jesus in the chat. Oh my goodness. I mean, hey, sometimes I'm just stupid. All right. Leave me alone. I'm just a dude. Zibby said, why is it scary? They know who you will vote for and by your behavior and record. Why does the U.S. fear people knowing who you voted for? That fear makes it so much easier for fraud and harvesting to take place. It's not the it's not fear of people knowing who you voted for. It's fear of what the government is going to do with the information that they have outside of making sure that you're doing the right thing. Outside of voting, what then? Because now you just have a national registry of all of the people and all of the. It's just like that's rife for corruption. All right, everybody got it out. Everybody got it out. All right, talk about echo chamber, right? I'm so fucking whatever. We're not addressing that motherfucker anymore. Anyway, Ayush said corporations get massive tax rebates by giving donations to woke NGOs to further an agenda that is not set by a democratic process. We are allowing tax fraud legally. Well said. I'm down for clamping down on that. Put the bill on my desk and I will sign it. All right.
Why should we care in the moment now?
Great question. First,
well, one, because you think you know, but you don't know what's going to happen after you die. And so this idea that Jesus is going to win and I'm waiting for the afterlife. Maybe. Maybe not. But also, how about life is not a waiting room? Even in Christian ideology, the idea of life is not to just wait. It's to live. Even if your drive in life is from religion is to proselytize it, but that's now. That's here in this reality, in this world, in this life that you know for sure exists. Why do you care more about something you don't even know? I don't get it. That's the same fear, all the same. It's silly. All right. I mean, maybe so. It might be. I'm definitely not arguing that it might be silly, but National Registry is definitely scary. Opus said, if you live as though nothing matters, you don't go to heaven. How about that? Works for me. I don't believe that it exists anyway. So if it does, then sounds good. If you have to live a virtuous life, you have to live a virtuous life or you go to hell. Yeah. I mean, this is what dogma does. Jesus is going to win in the end. So why should I care about my life? Why should I care about you? Why should I care about anyone? Because Jesus. That's going to help.
First and foremost, does the Bible ever instruct us to care about politics? Yes. Jeremiah 29:7. Demand the welfare of the nation that you are in, because your welfare is tied to your nation's welfare. Daniel, Esther, Mordecai, Jeremiah, Nehemiah. I could go through the list. Joseph, one of my favorite characters of the Bible. Bible trivia, only 2 Old Testament characters called righteous are who? Anybody? Noah, who said that? Good for you. And?
No,
Abraham was never called righteous. No, it's Noah and Joseph. Abraham was called good, but he's not called righteous. But close.
This is the frustrating part about this, guys, is that this is supposed to be about getting the youth to be more invigorated in politics. And now you're just virtue signaling about who knows more about the Bible. Why? Why are you doing this? Think about how fiery and on point he was in the beginning when he was talking about happiness and drive and all of that stuff. No, well, actually, I know it was Noah and excuse me, Abraham was called good, but not righteous.
What?
Nobody cares.
So yes, whoever said Noah, that's really good for you. People usually, I've been to churches and they don't get that question right. So Joseph called a righteous man. He was also called handsome. That's a separate issue. Joseph was what? What was Joseph? Let's Bible trivia. How can you describe Joseph? Yes, he was.
Well, technically a cuck, but you know.
Young son, discarded, all this. What was his role in Egypt? Anybody?
Beta.
Second most powerful, but what he was a what?
Beta.
He was, what'd you say?
Beta.
Accountant, yes, but he was a counselor to the king, right? God's
I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
vision for his people is to be counselors to the king, to correct error into right, to correct lies into truth, right? So should we take scissors and remove Joseph, Daniel, Mordecai, Esther, Nehemiah, and Jeremiah? No, we should look to Daniel. What did Daniel do when a tyrannical government told him to stop praying?
Okay, we'll get to Daniel in a moment. Unwanted Foe said crazy. Some people just want to live as a literal NPC. I mean, that as the literal part of that literal is literally never been as literal. Shout out to NPC TikTok. I mean, you should be arrested if you do that shit. Anyway, crazy people. Some people just want to live as a literal NPC. The world around them doesn't actually matter since they're looking at a supposed life after death. These kind of folks would buy a bridge from the old phrase, I have a bridge to sell you. Yeah. And then the big three, family, community, and country. This is the version of clean your room. Before we worry about whether there is a eternal being of whatever, let's get this stuff down. How about that? How about that? This is our room that we need to clean. Clean your room before you worry about not even this universe, but outside of this universe. That is insane. You said, what's with the Bible trivia? Wow, you're so talented in quoting a book. Now, why should I care? Bingo. Leaving that up.
What did Daniel do? Kept praying, and he opened up the window and he said, screw you, I'm going to keep on worshiping Hashem, Adonai, Jehovah, Elohim. I am not going to listen to your tyrannical order. We talk about Daniel in the lion's den, but we forget how he got in the lion's den.
So then talk about that instead of what I mean. That was not the worst story to pick. You know, it talked about, that standing up to tyranny and stuff. That's why I'm not saying throw out the baby with the bathwater. But like I used to say, Bible trivia, all you're doing is closing the group of people who are going to agree with you. All the atheists here, all the atheists who will watch this, all atheists who will watch this can be rah-rah all the way. Until you start saying that it has to be God. He's answering dumb questions. That's why. Okay, fair enough. Unwanted Foe said trivia night without any booze or smoking. Lame. Yup.
He got in the lion's den because he did not put up with tyrannical government. What does it say in Acts? It says that we will not obey man, but we will obey God. I could go on and on and on and on. This is a luxury.
Well, but why are you obeying God? How is that different in the context of what we're talking about? How is following God as an authority different? Not on the actual things, but principally, how is that different? than believing in the government. Oh, I don't think it is. I think it's the exact same thing. But, you know, your dogma is the right dogma. And everybody else throughout the entirety of human history, their dogma was the wrong one. But you got it. You got it. You're so special.
Of modern Christians that are comfortable and cowards. You shouldn't say that, but I'm being honest, okay? These are modern Christians that have it so good, they don't understand that Christianity usually ends up in the gulag and the death camp and persecution.
Okay, true.
We do not stand and fight for liberty, which is God's idea, not man's idea. We will be having theological disputes from prison, and we're all going to be running prison ministries. But if we stand for self-government and the promise the founders handed down to us, there's a chance that we can continue to fight for righteousness and goodness. And think about how selfish it is, though. Oh, Jesus is coming. I don't need to go fight for other people. Well,
there you go. There you go. Why bother if heaven? So we agree on these things. And we happen to arrive at these same conclusions, but from different paths. But I'm willing to say, okay, I didn't take your path, but we both ended up here, and I think this is the right place to be. But you're saying, I am in the best spot in the entire universe. I know it for sure. And you're here with me too, but you're bad because reasons.
What? Shut up!
You're hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot when you push people away who already agree with you. Opposite, honestly, the more I study, the more I lean toward believing that agnostic society can't survive. It has never happened in society. Well, they've never had the Indian Jesus. I'm telling you guys. I mean, you can believe it, or you can, think I'm just some guy tooting his own horn. But trust me, this is going to fix America. Yeah.
What were the two things that Jesus said were the most important teachings of the Old Testament? Leviticus 19, which is love your neighbor as yourself. You guys do that. This is an impressive group. And number 2, Deuteronomy 20, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. Good.
Why?
So those two things. How can you love your neighbor as yourself if you live under a tyrannical government?
What? What? How can you love your neighbor as yourself if you live under a tyrannical government? You both hate the government together, and you're being what? Well, let's just throw that one away, because that was so dumb and meaningless, because now he's in preacher mode, so he's just talking about God. So everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, totally. You can't love your neighbor if you're under tyrannical government.
What?
But, the left's the one in the mob.
I love my neighbors so much, I want them to live in a free society.
Holy cope! I want you to live in a free society. Therefore, if we don't have a free society, I can't love you.
What?
That's not how that works. I wanted to, Foe said, this went from a turning point conservative speech to a Catholic summer camp. And how do you think the secular conservative people, how do you think the people who don't believe in God, but will do anything to keep Biden out of the White House? How do you think we feel about that? Charlie Kirk, do you think this is a good way to go about it? Sure. You're going to have 15 kids in there. Oh my God, Charlie Kirk, you're so cool. I love just as much as you. But there are millions of people out there who want to support your message, who want to get behind you. But what do you say? No, you're not good enough, because even though we arrived at the exact same spot, I did it the better way. So that's it. Am I wrong? Is that not the message? That is exactly the message. Meldamine Media said, I think he's talking about snitch on your government like they do in China. Okay, but you can, yeah. I mean, I guess, but you could still love somebody under that. Like, it's just, yeah. I hear you. I hear where you're coming from, and I appreciate you trying to save him, but he just jumped the shark, lost the plot. Another reference. If you get this, then I don't know. I'm gonna whatever. You'll feel cool, but who knows where this came from.
That's what you should tell your friends. That is, it is the loving thing to do.
All right. All right. All right. I said that I was really mad that this was turning into, as Unwanted Foe said, Catholic summer camp. But let's be fair. I am remembering that the question was specifically about how to talk to Christian people who don't care about politics and only care about God. So I will step back from that opinion and say, there was some really stupid points in there, but the fact that he was so focused on Christianity was relevant to the question. So we'll take that one. Yeah, shout out. So the only reason I know this, okay, even better, I'll send you a $5 Cash App if you can tell me why I know that Jump the Shark is from Happy Days. There is a way. If you know, you know. $5 Cash App if you can guess. Unwanted Foe said, "Dear Feds, there's this M cubed bastard who's kind of sus. He probably stole Hunter's crack. We gotta get him. He might be right wing." Melder My Media said, "I ain't trying to save Ish. I'm trying to make heads or tails of his rambling." All right. Fair enough.
To give someone a free society.
But yeah, can we give him the credit that, okay, he was directly talking about he was specifically talking about a religious question, so a religious answer makes sense. Nope, but close, not a song.
It is the unloving thing. It is against Leviticus 19.
Oh my God, bro. Okay, we get it.
Thing to have them live in a Stalinistic Mao type government. So take whatever you want, maybe lower the temperature a little bit, and then park it and say, maybe we should think about this. And finally, liberty is to be able to do what you ought to do. We have this short gasp where we live in a free society.
Liberty is the freedom to do what you ought to do? Sure. But I'm stuck on that. What you ought to do is different than what you want to do. Liberty is absolutely not about what you should do. That's authoritarianism. The government saying this is what you ought to do. Liberty is the opposite of that. What are you talking about, bro? Did I hear it wrong? What are you guys thinking on this, please? And Replay Gang, I need your comments on this one.
Liberty is to be able to do what you ought to do. We have the
to be able to do what you ought to do, which means what you should do. Liberty is to be able to do what you should do. I thought liberty was the freedom to do what you want to do without government interference. That's very different. So which is it? Because I am not down with this version of liberty. I'm down with it in the sense that we should have that as well, but that falls too short. That is too weak of a version of liberty in my eyes.
This short gasp where we live in a free society. Does God want you to be free?
Who cares?
Yes. God delivered his chosen.
Then how do you know that? How do you know what God wants for me? I've been trying to talk to him for 25 years. He hasn't said a goddamn word, but you know? He's talking to you? All right, well, tell him why the fuck he's been hidden. Tell him why he maybe comes wanting to self-delete at 11 years old because I didn't think I was a good enough Christian. That didn't really do so well for me. And I still believe for another, 10 years after that? Maybe 8 years? I remember the day that they gave me a little bottle of communion water for one of the sacraments, probably at 11. What are you doing, like penance or something? Whichever one. And I remember pouring it down the sink, crying, because I didn't believe that I deserved it. And I didn't know why. God wouldn't just talk to me. Yeah, first communion. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. God works in mysterious ways. Mysterious indeed. For those who, for someone who claims to love you. Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Taken back. The sponsorship spot. Come on, get a treat. Come on, let's go. Come on. Right here. There we go. He said, we'll feed the puppy first. There you go. Thank you so much. What does Unwanted Folks say? It said, taking away your liberty temporarily, feed the pup. That is something I am totally down to do. All right. Well, since we got a new sponsor, let's jump right back in and change that banner.
People from bondage, the first chapter of Exodus. And then rose a king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. Forgets the memory of the history before them. Terrorized. Who are these Jews? Imprison them, enslave them, they multiply like cockroaches. And God went to great lengths to deliver his people from bondage, from tyranny, into freedom. But then what ends up happening? Anybody read the book of Numbers? Numbers 11? They start complaining. And they complain.
This is the issue that I have with just, well, I don't really know other religions, but specifically Christians. You're so wordy. Just spit it the fuck out. What are you saying? Well, they did this, and then they went to the top of the mountain, and God said unto thee, but only they who will do this such, and like, bro, what do you want? Just say the thing. What do you want us to understand? Say it. Let's do this. You're losing me, not only because I don't believe in what you're talking about, but because I'm just lost as to what in the fact you're even saying.
They start complaining, and they complain. Numbers 11, God's chosen people. 10 plagues, parting of the Red Sea, 10 commandments. Numbers 11, what was their complaint? Hey, God, we want to go back to Egypt because we had, quote, cucumbers in Egypt. You can look it up, fact check me. English Standard Version, Numbers 11.
Oh, Melton My Media. It's so sad that he's not the sponsor anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys. Much appreciated. And shout out to Unwanted Foe. Oba said you should say body of Christ. Okay. Wait. Give me a sec. I gotta. Let's do. Okay, Marty, ready? Come on. The power of Christ compels you. That's yeah. There you go. A1 idea. So you want to see it? Let's see it.
They've said to God, we miss Egypt because we had meat, leeks, and cucumbers and melons in Egypt. That's a good trivia question for your friends, right? Name me a vegetable that is in the book of Numbers. Many people don't know it's cucumbers. It's like hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so hilarious. Oh, my God.
What were they saying? I prefer to go be a slave than to be in the desert, even though quail is blown off course and manna comes from heaven. It is in...
You prefer to be a slave instead of what? I mean, there's... So turning point. So this is the beginning of a new chapter. Seems like he's going to go off onto something else, and then he's talking about supporting non-conservative companies. If he's going through this chapter like this, we'll just skip it. And then shout out to Melton My Media. I'm going to take the what do they call it? The civics whatever test that we're talking about live on air and see how I do. Hey, our sponsor. All right, so let's see. The body of Christ. Little sign of the cross there, right? Shout out to you. Out sponsoring yourself, bro. Love it. Thank you. Melton said I would get up and walk out of this and get called a libtard. Probably. Probably.
Our soul and our broken spirit to want to be taken care of and live under tyranny. It takes effort of you to want to live free, to want to remind people that liberty and freedom is a value.
Okay. Now we're getting back on track.
Which is God's plan for his people. Our broken nature wants us to go live under a dictator. That is the spiritual tension in front of us.
I really thought he was going to say live under a dick. I just got dick on the mind. I don't know.
Next question.
To your right.
Obed says, oh, that reminds me. I found a new twist on the political compass test. I'll share it in Discord. Interesting. Is it longer or shorter? Maybe that, because no, I'm still gonna do this one tonight, but word up. Yeah. Unwanted Foe said good time to visit the concession stand. Hey, just keep as long as you as long as you keep the stream on and not muted, we're good. Get your snacks.
Right.
Yep. Holy based. Let's go. Now
that's ooh, I want to do that. I
just want to say, for all Catholics and curious, we will be doing a rosary tonight. We're trying to get a group together.
I have a lot of respect for Catholics. God bless you.
Freaking go. But anyway, please join. We'd love for everyone to come. But so what I want to know is, so I would argue that Turning Point's rhetoric has gotten a lot better since the Culture War tour back in 2019. And a lot of the arguments that have gone on within my chapter have been about what is Turning Point's real goal. You know, people will tell me, at least, they'll say, oh, this is all about economics, Gus. You can't focus on the social issues. And obviously, I think this discussion is proving that wrong right now. But I kind of want to, just because the rhetoric has shifted so much over the last few years, I want to know what is like Turning Point's definitive stance on social issues, both political, religious, and also how does that go into factoring in who can work at Turning Point USA? Like, what is the standard for, you know, what someone should be practicing in their personal
life? I think that's a great question. And so first, I'll tell you what I believe, right? I think it's rather well documented.
I was going to say, yeah, we're all pretty familiar with what you believe.
I think I've just gone through it, right? The most important way that I could address that is first and foremost an understanding of the principles that allowed Western civilization to flourish and a commitment to the eternal natural law. We go back to the Declaration and the Constitution, first and foremost. The laws of...
Wait. That same Constitution that you said doesn't say separation of church and state? Maybe you should go back to the Constitution.
Nature and nature's God. How you read that and how I read that is there is a natural law and we should follow that. So if I were to... You could...
Hey, shout out to Sean McWilliams. Welcome to the party with the 199. Of course, that gets Morty a treat. And what am I saying? Oh, yeah. Morty, come on, come get it. For the body of Christ. Yeah. Shout out to Sean McWilliams. Welcome to the party, sir. Glad to see you.
You go through a million different issues, right? And then all of a sudden you have like, your mission statement ends up being 500,000 pages long.
Kind of like the Bible. It's like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth, bro.
So I made a decision. I said, you know what? We had this at our training. We believe in the promises of the Declaration of the Constitution, which does cover social issues, by the way.
As well as separation of church and state, which you didn't know.
The Declaration, God has mentioned 4 times that there is a supreme judge of the world. Right? And so if you stay to just those 2 documents, what is Turning Point's mission? To revive the promise of the American founding as articulated in the Declaration and the United States Constitution, aka get our country back from these people.
Nice censorship. And I agree with that mission. I want that mission, but we can't when everybody has their own definition of the word God. If you the same way, I don't know why more people on the left are not, taking a page out of Matt Walsh's book and asking people, what is God? You could do a 7-hour series of just, what is God? Person giving the answer. Next person, what is God? Giving the answer. And they would all be different. So again, how are we supposed to coalesce around this idea when the idea itself is not firmly even defined?
Now, you might say, Charlie, you're ramping up the intensity. What has changed? I got married and had a daughter. That's what's changed. You want to get radicalized? Get married. With that being said,
I'm with that, 100%.
some of our best activists, some of our, hardest fighters in the trenches are people with other lifestyles and that. You know what? I think the world of them. And I'm happy to fight for liberty amongst people, even if I see differently on certain things that they
Like, well, how differently? Are you willing to fight for liberty, for true liberty, for somebody who is a gay dude who is just not pushing an ideology, but just happens to like getting dicks in his butt? Because I'm just saying, you're the one who was saying all these churches are watered down. You're the one who's saying we need to follow God. I'm just saying, there's a lot of dudes who like dicks in their butts who also don't like Biden. Make your move.
they might do in their personal life. So to answer that final part of your question, thank you.
Hello, Mr. Kirk. My name is Abibal Hagan,
Right.
and I am one of the co-presidents at
Last
Pepperdine
question.
University.
Pepperdine, yeah.
You answered
And
my
we're going to
question
the
last time
civics
about
test.
becoming a surgeon and also a mom at YWLS.
Oh, that went a little viral.
What is it? There's something about her voice. It's the what is that? What's good, Opus? Why are you just randomly tagging me?
Did. But
I'm
thank
right
you
here.
for reposting on your page. It was
course,
super
thank
cool.
you.
My family sent it to me
Cool.
and they were like, whoa. But anyway, I have a bit of a different question.
Sure.
So at Pepperdine, there's a really big organization that's called the Global Justice Institute, and they're currently serving in Rwanda and Uganda, breaking people out of prison for crimes that they actually did not commit. However, I joined as an ambassador to only advocate for PALMIA negotiations in foreign countries because that's something that I'm actually
It's not there. It's just me. It's just a tag.
passionate about. I'm not necessarily passionate about the humanitarian acts that don't really have anything to do with our country.
Yeah.
And I do want to look at it, but that's why I was confused because it's just a tag. There's no link there.
So and there are many organizations at Pepperdine that are kind of conservative and also kind of liberal just because they have to swing both ways to have both sides of Christianity be
Both sides of Christianity? What does that mean? There you go.
service, like some of the students were saying. So how should we as conservative students support these organizations? Should we go all in and try to really maximize that conservative side, or just not at all because they're not fully conservative?
Bruh. Shout out to Opus. This is going to be Monday's show. I don't even know what I'm looking at, but I'm going to build a government. That is Monday's show. Awesome. Thank you, Opus. Shout out.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I have nothing against helping people in, Uganda or Rwanda. I do, how do I say this gently? There's a lot of good people that do that work, but I also think it's driven a lot by upper middle class white guilt in this country, where they refuse to actually recognize our own country is quickly becoming a third world country. Like, get on a highway, any highway, and drive through the interior of the United States.
Especially in Jersey. Potholes all year round.
We have 110,000 people drug overdosing every single year in this country. We have thousands of people being sex trafficked, literally, through our country every single day. We're like, oh, I need to go to Rwanda or Uganda. Like, nah, okay, good on you. But do you focus at all on your own country? Jeremiah 29:7, demand the welfare of the land of which you are in.
Jordan Peterson, rule number 1, clean your room. We arrived at the same place, but you're better than me because you quoted one book and I quoted a different book. Is it landing? Are you guys understanding how frustrating this mentality is? It's so pervasive. The only thing more pervasive right now is the gender ideology. That's why I focus on that way more. But it is extremely frustrating.
Not demand the welfare of a foreign off land. I'm not against it. I'm sure they mean well, but I'm with you. Like, can we fix our own country before we try to solve the ailments of the third world? I don't know. So I would involve, the PALMIA thing is really important. The prisoners of war missing in action. I'm glad you're doing that. So that's where my own sentiment is at. I'm not against, international third world charity, but I feel as if it's been an overemphasis of Christian groups the last 20 or 30 years. And there's kind of an indifference with the suffering that's happening in our own country.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So before we dive into this test here, I mean, what did you guys think of that? Because I think it's important. Again, the reason that I wanted to talk about that specifically is is focusing on youth, focusing on and specifically Gen Z, because they are the ones who are attending these things. They are the ones who are, still trying to figure these things out. They're the ones who are going to be voting the millennial politicians of the time into office. It's going to be millennials playing to Zoomers. So what they think, how they operate, really, really matters. No, nobody has one word to say about that. All right, then I guess we'll jump right in to test yourself. AmericanHistory.si.edu citizenship test. All right, taking the test during the naturalization interview, a USCIS officer will ask you up to 10 civics questions from the list of 100. You must answer correctly. You must correctly answer 6 questions. Oh, you can't highlight. Okay, 6 questions to pass in the civics portion of the naturalization test. You will need to say the answers aloud in the official. Oh, in the official. No. The questions are not multiple choice. All right. Let's see what we got. All right. Well, okay. What happened at the Constitutional Convention? Wait, really? They signed the Constitution. Oh, why did that? What? Okay. I'm gonna guess that. All right. Wow. All right. Amajivo said, is there anything wrong with valuing an American, or whichever country you're from, life more than someone from a different country? Is there anything wrong with valuing an American life more than someone from a... do you mean valuing life in America, or whatever, or life in the home country versus the new country? Or no cheating. Come on, don't help me. Not like I didn't know that, but or do you mean, is there something wrong with valuing how life is lived here versus how life is lived in another country? Because is there anything wrong with valuing an American life more? Because like if you're talking about the value in the life, the person, then I don't think that you should necessarily judge based on that. But valuing American, like the American way of life more? Hell no, it's better. It's got more value. Saying it out loud. Yeah, well, I actually already am a United States citizen, so we're just taking the practice. But no cheating. Don't help me. I need to be. We gotta see. We gotta see. Should you guys even be watching me? Do I even know what the fuck is going on? Maybe not. So, Unwanted Foe said, as in preferring to help American needs for its people before other countries. No, I mean, clean your room. America is our room. I mean, it's the fact of the matter is we can't value anything outside of America until we can legitimately and justifiably value America. And of course, I'm not saying that we don't, but well, what? Turn on sound. I just saw this. Sorry. Okay, but you know what I mean. So I think that's perfectly fine. Like if you value life in your country, whatever country that is, more than living anywhere else, then go for it. That's the name of the game. Be happy. He says this goes to national identity. Yup. All right. What ocean is on United States? Wait, let me actually read the question instead of seeing if Ayush is just fucking with me and not paying attention. I definitely should.
Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the states. What is one power of the states?
Okay. To print stamps, to declare war, to make treaties. Some powers belong to the states. Which is one of them power? I want to say it's definitely not declare war. And treaties seems To print stamps? Like literally just print them? Oh, they're not going to tell you? Oh, what? I didn't see that there was an E. Pause. All right, well.
Who vetoes bills?
The president.
What does the judicial branch do?
Explains laws. Yup.
What are 2 cabinet-level positions?
Cabinet level positions.
What is one responsibility that is only for United States citizens?
Yup, taking a civics test.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh, that was good. That was good. That was good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so what is the one? Wait, sorry. Daniel says more like failing one by accident. Life happens, right? Like when I accidentally said that I thought Dylan Mulvaney was straight because I started using a man who is attracted to women, and then I was talking about trans, and then he said Dylan Mulvaney, and it switched it up. And sorry, I'm not all up on the pronoun shit, but more like that. You take L's in life, but I only got one wrong. That's not actually that I didn't know, and I can get 3 more. So as long as I don't miss any of these, what is responsibility for the United States? Oh, okay. I think I don't. One responsibility that's only for, meaning like not for immigrants, or I mean not immigrants, but you know what I mean, like people who aren't citizens. I want to say serve on a jury, but I feel like that is not it. Definitely not write a newspaper. Definitely not join a political party. We know the Democrats love those non-citizens. So I'm gonna go with my gut. Let's see.
Yeah!
Let's go. Well, no, I'm not asking for help. I'm just thinking. All right, just thinking. Maybe about to lose my rights, but I don't think I can now, right? No, I can't lose. I already win. Yay, I win. We're gonna finish it, but yay, I win. All right, let's see what the last.
Who makes federal laws?
Who makes federal laws?
How many U.S. senators are there?
Oh, fuck. I always fuck this one up. Fuck. I always forget if it's the which is which. I know it's either 435 or 100. Senators. I feel like there's 2 senators. And Congress is based on the congressmen are based on the size. Nice.
What are the 2 parts of the
Let's go. Had I read the answer, had they not hidden the fucking, actually, I don't even, was it hidden or, yeah. No, it wasn't hidden. It's just, oh my God, you guys got to see this. It's behind my webcam. Like, oh my God, that is frustrating. That would have been a 10 out of 10, but of course, on some bullshit. Okay, peep this BS. Well, first, oh, God damn it. I didn't box off the thing, so I don't know where he is, but okay. So when we're, actually, let's do this. So if I'm looking, this is the angle that I have. That's why I saw it like that. Because I saw A, B, and C. Like, come on, bro. Come on. All right. So I guess I keep my rights. I guess, yeah. I got it right. And I knew it was either 2 in each state or that there was I knew that there was 435 Congress members. I just didn't know if it was Congress or if it was the Senate or the House of Representatives or the Senate. Harshal said the deep state makes the federal laws based. How do I F this? I just showed you. Mel's Mime said, same score as me. I misread the question on 1. Well, all right. You know what? Then we're going 3. We're going best out of the 3. So all right. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this again. And oh, come on. Okay.
What are the 2 major political parties? Why does the flag?
There's 1 star for each state.
Where is the statue?
How many U.S. senators are there?
I don't know. I wonder how many it could be.
How old do citizens have?
What? They vote. I thought it... Read the questions, guys, because I thought it said how old the citizens have to be to become president. But obviously, this is what the Democrats want. But fortunately, we are here.
The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers.
Ooh. Damn. Do you guys know this one? I didn't know it. The Federalist Papers supported the passage of the U.S. Constitution. Name one of the writers. Not Thomas Jefferson. I'm gonna guess Hamilton or Washington, but don't save it. You're already gay. Harshal said, speaking of senators, Mitch McConnell is glitching IRL these days. Yeah, we just watched that the other day. That was wild. So wait, are you saying D was the answer? Or are you talking about? Okay, well, if anybody can look that up.
There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them.
The 19th.
What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803?
Is this the LP? 1803. So it wouldn't be. Yeah, I don't know why did I not just say Louis? I didn't say Louisiana Purchase. What was what did I just say right before that? Because that's what I was thinking, and then it says territory and not
Under our Constitution, some powers belong to the states.
Really?
What is one power of the states?
I did it again. I did it again on the same fucking question. Oh my God.
Stupid.
That's embarrassing. Is this LP? Yeah, what was I referring to? I forget what we were talking about.
In what month do we vote for president?
I can't believe I fucking did this again. We're going. We're going.
What is one thing?
Name one U.S. The House of Representatives has.
Oh man, I almost
Who
did it.
was
Yes.
the first president?
Yes. I did it again. Wasn't Louisiana? Not when we bought it. Yes, I did it again. Melted my meat and said, "I'm so straight. I won't even answer D if it's the right answer." Whichever one works for you. Who was the first president? I don't know.
Name 2 national U.S. holidays.
National holidays. National holidays. National holidays are different than, what is the other version? Not professional. It's national holidays, and I don't remember what the other categorization is. Okay, so national holidays usually have to do with, I'm gonna go here. Yeah. I don't remember the distinctions.
We elect a president for who vetoes. We elect a U.S. representative for how many years?
Is that 4 or 6? I really, okay. Nope. 2.
Name
Idiot.
the U.S. war between the North and the
Name one war fought by the United States in the 1900s.
I'm so mad right now. The 1900s, 1900. God damn it. Well, nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Oh, my bad. Harshal said, then the teacher might end up giving you the D. Oh! Okay. So, oh, religious holidays. That's what I was thinking of. Religious holidays and national holidays are the two different types. Christmas is a religious holiday, but I guess it's also a weird. And yes, not Lex Luthor, Martin Luther King, that is. And Melting My Media closing out with us a D's make degrees. Guys, this was a lot of fun. I know that the speech or summer camp thing kind of went left a little bit, but we always try to save it, and we always have a good time. I gotta shout out my boys. I gotta shout out Dan Jensen. Thank you so much. I gotta shout out Melted Mind Media. Thank you. And of course, the sponsor of the stream, Unwanted Foe. Let's hear it. Put a UF in the chat for Unwanted Foe. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate you. You know how much I love you. I know you don't like when I get mushy, but you guys make me all mushy inside. So I just want to share that with you. But seriously, I really do appreciate you guys. And, a lot of this stuff is very important. And even though it's basic, I took the test 3 times. And despite the fact that I did this twice, I still only ever got 8 out of 10 questions. So doesn't mean that I'm dumb. Doesn't mean that I'm smart. It means that I need to pay more attention to these basic things, as do we all. I want to do a video where I take this test. I take this website on my phone. I'll just go and ask the people, and I do that. I need a cameraman. Somebody drive up to Jersey so I can do that. But yeah, I think for what day is it? Friday. So Monday show, when we're going back to 8 p.m. If you prefer the 6 p.m., let me know somehow. Comment, join the Discord, which is free to join. Let me know, if you prefer 6 p.m. We did 6 p.m. this week. We usually do 8 p.m. I'm trying to figure out what is the best thing to do. So, join the Discord. We are about to head over to the after party where you're not stuck behind your keyboard, but you're actually on screen with me and everybody else. Melted Mind Media is already in the video chat. Shout out to him. And I will see you guys there. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Thank you for calling me out on my shit. And thank you for watching me fail 3 times. 8 out of 10 is a failure for me. But yes, Harshal, 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and don't forget about the daily videos. The comments on those really help, guys, if you could. Yes, I was just about to ask you, thank you so much. Again, Melted Mind Media dropping the link for the Discord. Like I said, he and Dan are already in the chat room. I just got to take a piss, and then I'm going to be in there. With that being said, thank you so much, guys. Again, even if you can't contribute your money to the show, that's totally fine. Just being here, spending the time, having the conversation, challenging me, questioning each other, all of this stuff is so vitally important that I really do appreciate that you came. So I hope to see you again. And we can do that right now, or again, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and videos every single day. So you're going to get a short video tomorrow. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once again, thank you. We had I don't know where my co-host went. I think he ran upstairs because I forgot to block that off. But I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.